Hello, Nina. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me here.
Could you tell us what were you like as a kid and where did you grow up?
Yeah, I grew up in Tbilisi. I was born there. It's a very small city in a very small country. And I always loved it here since childhood. But my surroundings actually were quite negative in a way that everyone always wanted to move away from here. But my vision of Tbilisi was quite different. And that's actually when I was like 13 and I finally gained the consciousness, as a child, when you finally start to develop your interests. I saw interesting details in Tbilisi and I wanted others to see them too. So that's how I developed interest in photography. I started taking some photos with whatever I had and I was showing it to others and letting them know that here it's actually beautiful, it's actually really interesting. And yeah, that's how my story began. And then I just fell in love with photography and it really became part of my life and part of my personality and everything. So I was from childhood very interested in photography.
Very interesting. So did the place where you grew up change much over the years? And do you know some urban legends that's familiar in your neighborhood?
My neighborhood doesn't really have any urban legends. It's just a usual street and neighborhood, quite casual. And I always loved it because it's quite positive. And even though nothing changes, I always see something new every day when I go out on a walk to take photos. Yeah, I love finding new things in the kind of already known surroundings.
I don't like to say something is a bad art, but art is art. The question is, for me, is something art or not? At least I like to think so. So tell me, what do you think separates good art from, let's say, lazy art?
So lazy art to me is when someone is just faking it and doesn't love what they do and they do it for something like, money, clout and everything. That's just fake, and if it doesn't have a feeling to it. So I'm actually quite a lazy person, but when I do my art and everything, yes, I can sometimes push myself too much because, creating content for social media is a job now. I always put a feeling in it because it's important and it's always special. But for, lazy art is something when you do without much thinking, much feeling, and you just create it because for something not valuable and
not truthful.
Not truthful. So when an artist doesn't stay true to themselves, that's when it turns out lazy.
Can you tell me something about your path? How did you become a photographer with a great eye and sense for what moves people who experience your art? Photography and videography merge with sound in such a good way. How did it start?
My ideology of photography was to always share my vision and my feelings for my surroundings to other people. It started with my family, then my friends, and now followers. I like to prove that life is beautiful. If not beautiful, it's always interesting in some ways. So, as I said, my interest in photography started from here, and till this day it continues this way because I still want everyone to see the world with my eyes, to feel something ordinary too. And sharing obviously means that I always wanted to grow the social media platforms. And then it all became about video and no more photography to get popular anymore. So I had to think of something, and I used to like scroll on these platforms myself to find some inspiration, and it's a creative place, and I came across animations and everything. And what is animation, right? It's just frames drawn or edited in different ways. So that's like an idea for me, you know. And I developed like a style to edit photo in different ways, like making the lights flicker, and just, you know, that I started with just 2 frames, one with lights on and one with lights off, and it's a thing already, you know.
Cool.
And
cool.
then and then I started adding music to it, and it's just became with small steps. It became something quite interesting for me, because I found the night lights quite interesting to animate, and it was like quite easy technically too to start.
Awesome.
And it was just another world for me to join the editing video editing club too. And it was a really good journey to start, because I always wanted to like make music videos, but my camera didn't really take good videos, so I really wanted to stick to photography and making even more interesting. So that's how my style was born. And I don't think there were many of this in this like brutalistic style, in Tbilisi style. I just fell in love with doing it too.
From your point of view, how hard is it to leave a mark today in this digital world? And for someone who loves art and who feels it, like in this fast world full of noise?
Well, it's kind of depends on your ambition and what is like leaving a mark for you. Because for some people it's like a worldwide thing, for some people it's local, and for some people it's enough to just affect a few people in the lives. So I think for me, I love to leave a mark in Georgian photography industry someday. But now, I know that I'm affecting many people, because I receive many messages about people telling me that I changed their point of view about their surroundings. They fell in love with Tbilisi even more, and things like that. So I think that for me, that is already leaving a mark. It may be just a few people, and I think that's quite satisfying already. But then it all depends on your ambitions. For example, for me, it's quite easy to leave a mark because I live in a small country. I currently have 300,000 followers, and that might not be too much for maybe from person from USA or any big country, but in Georgia, it's quite big. I am already on the way to leave a mark here.
Definitely.
the numbers are not enough. You know, you have to do many other things too. But I'm on the way. So yeah, it depends on where are you from, and it also kind of depends on luck too, and obviously hard work too. So I think nowadays everything is kind of possible if you work hard enough and you just simply love what you do.
I love your point of view. Great. Georgia is a very intriguing country, and it's full of beautiful places, castles, nature, and old culture. And it's a place with a great climate conditions. I think it's a really beautiful country with so much to discover. Please tell me, what is your country like, and what do you love the most about Georgia? And also, your focus on the street and urban photography sometimes is on older buildings. So could you tell us about Tbilisi too?
Yeah, so it's hard to say what I love mostly about Georgia, because I love it fully. You know, except the economical and political situations, like Georgia is just amazing. With all kind of nature, all kind of culture, such a small country, and people even speak different Georgian languages. You know, each region has its own culture and everything. So it's like super interesting. There are many different kind of people, and it's always exciting. Like whenever I go outside Tbilisi, it's like straight, like right away, it's always just new kind of nature, new kind of mountains. We even have deserts, lakes, and everything. You know, it's really beautiful. And as I love photographing nature, it's like compositions everywhere.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's I love everything about Georgia.
Awesome.
And about Tbilisi, yeah, it's just, you know, close to heart. There are many good things about Tbilisi and many bad things about Tbilisi. For example, like there are so many constructions going on here that you can now hardly get any views from your house, even though like Tbilisi is also surrounded by mountains. And you know, it's just became too busy, and that's like the only thing I dislike about it. But the rest I find like very interesting. Old Tbilisi architecture is also very interesting. Even the post-Soviet, like what I photograph, I kind of started photographing them because this is what most people hate about Tbilisi, you know, because yes, these buildings are kind of ugly, right? And kind of depressing too. They're super gray and worn out and everything.
Yeah.
But I still saw something interesting because I'm living there. I don't want to experience this negativity all day. So I'll try to like make it into something interesting, see the compositions, and see it in different light, and everything kind of turns into shapes, and it kind of becomes, you know, in my eyes, it becomes abstract. It becomes like a painting. It's like art fully, and I capture it, I edit it, and share it to my followers to, you know, let them know too that yes, it can be kind of ugly, but it can also like create a pretty shape and interesting. It can have an interesting mood in different lights and everything. So
definitely.
Yeah, and I actually recently started photographing at night because of the animation, and because, you know, night photography requires a good camera too. So when I got the good camera, I finally started taking night photos, and now I also love that too.
Awesome. I love it. It looks like a dream, I must say, you know, when you like edit it, and whatever you catch, when I see your photos and videos, it looks like a dream, you know, always inspiring.
Yeah, thanks very much.
While experiencing your visuals, video stories, and photography, I must notice that you really know how to merge imagery with sound. How important is music to you? Could you name some of your favorite music and musicians, maybe?
Yes. I love music, and I just feel it very well too. And actually, it's kind of funny too, because for content that I create, I use music that I find that it's good for the content only, because like most of the music I have used on my videos, I haven't really listened fully, because my music taste is quite different. So I combine my taste and my audience's taste to create content. And for me, I really like, for example, Muse, Red Hot Chili Peppers. My favorite individual musician is John Frusciante.
Cool.
Yeah, I like that. He has some complex music with many layers of instruments and everything. And and after
Very
listening to
emotional.
his work, I can't really turn back to the simplicity anymore. But for content, it's fine. It's like those 15 seconds of the music are enough to make me feel something for my art too. But for me, like individually, of course, some of the music I listen to can work well with my art too. But I also, worry about the performance, because it's social media and it's my job, because it helps me get clients and everything. So my have to be performing well. So I can't really use the more unique and more niche music on my content. So
I understand that.
Whenever I'm not editing or anything, I'm always listening to the music I really love, like the ones I said.
Awesome.
And I can just listen to any music that will make me feel something, no matter the genre it is.
I love those artists too. So
I'm glad you have heard of John Frusciante, because not many people know about him.
For sure, he is very emotional too. While uncovering many interesting things through my life as a musician, and with a lot of curiosity, I must ask you: does genius lie in simplicity?
I think simplicity is also the key. Because not everything has to be like super complex to be good. Like in music, I like complexity, but I also like simplicity, like as I said, for my content. And for my art, people often ask me like tutorials and everything, but I'm kind of ashamed, because I just sometimes do only 2 color adjustments to edit the photo, because it's just enough for this photo. And I can just be like, make tutorials about how I made these 2 adjustments, because I keep it simple. Sometimes I keep it complex. Sometimes I edit one photo like 5 times, 6 times, but for my videos, for example, I take some videos with my phone too, and when you edit the phone footage, it doesn't give you much capability of going complex, going like doing many things. So I really just do just simple adjustments, and that's it, and the result is nice anyway. So for me, it's like all the technical stuff is like, if it works, it works. And my photography in general also never really had this stories behind them and some deep meanings behind them. It's just all about feeling for me, which is simple for me to get a feeling, and the most important in photography for me is the visual pleasure. And I think my photography, I really find it simple, because it's a photo of a mountain. Like, I didn't create a mountain, it's like nature, right? And the way I edit it, it's like simple. And I just want the viewer to have a visual pleasure and no like deep meanings behind it. It's simple and about feeling and liking what you see.
Definitely interesting. Very nice. What is your place to go to when you want to chill out or even enjoy the silence and solitude? And how do you like to spend your free time?
Yeah, so I love to spend time with my husband, and we usually go out for some photo walks too, and he's fine with it. We go like, I just love to pick a random place, like a random street, and walk there and find some good, interesting details to photograph, and also just have a good walk with my husband too.
Cool.
So it's like communication and work too.
Of course.
I think that's like a good relaxation for me too. Going, as we have some lakes too in Tbilisi, we sometimes visit them. We have some parks and we visit them. So it's like, just simply walking around is enough to spend my time in good quality.
Sure, definitely sounds good. Because Georgia has a lot of places, I mean, I'm still discovering your country, but I really think there are a lot of places you can. I saw the astrophotography or just shooting the night sky isn't a stranger to you. So do you like taking images of the night sky, and how does it feel?
I don't take much of the night sky. I just love photographing the moon too. It's mostly the evenings, because when it's night in Tbilisi, you don't really see much of the sky and everything, and I don't really go out of the city often. So it's either cloudy or you just can't see the stars because of the light pollution. Yeah, so I just take photos of the moon, and and I have some photos already taken of the night sky, and sometimes I just edit it over the photo so it looks like there is a moon and there are some stars too. But mostly it's just moon and evening sky is what I like to photograph mostly.
Oh, so there's a lot of light pollution in Tbilisi.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Unfortunately. Do you think there is another intelligent life in the universe? Did you ever thought about it?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
You do?
Yeah, of course. Like when I was 15 and I started, discovering many new things about the world. Like that was my very first, discovery and belief that there is something much more. You asked me about the night sky, and sometimes when I look at the moon, I try to imagine the scale of the universe. It kind of makes you feel small and makes you feel some weird things, like whenever I look at the night sky or the moon. So I totally believe that there is not just something, but many things out there. So
I agree. I can see you are very busy these days, and that your book is due to be published, or is it published? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's published.
It's called Art of Observation. Let me see. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's bigger.
My photography is about observing my surroundings. So Art of Observation is a really good name for like my whole ideology and photography too. Combines like hundreds of my photos, because I like to take many photos like of everything, city, nature, like just lovely sunset clouds too and everything. So I wanted to put everything in there for the viewer to see that it's just not the flickering lights and everything.
Yeah, beautiful.
I think I can even show a few pages.
Please. It's bigger than I thought. It's bigger.
It's quite heavy. So can you see? Like this is one of my favorite it like that. There's a
Wow.
purple firework and purple night sky. Let me show you like
Awesome.
from the different chapters. I will show. Really love this one too. Thank you.
So interesting.
Yeah,
I love it.
I don't know why, but this photo is like my favorite.
Yeah?
One of my favorites. I just really
Oh.
like the lines and everything it has. So yeah. And I also included, oh my god, it's so heavy.
Yeah.
It's quite heavy.
Mm,
Some photos with mobile photography too, because
I love that.
Yeah, everything is possible with nowadays smartphones. So it's
Oh,
just,
yeah.
There are like many more photos. I will also show you from one more chapter, like
Please.
my favorite place. It's Stepan's Minda. It's a big mountain, and it's like super impressive in real life.
Wow.
And every time I see it, I'm like shocked.
Wow.
It's just never that boring, yeah.
It's magical. It's really beautiful. I must have it. We will put a link below this podcast.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, there are actually just only a few books left to order. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Good to know. Good to know. Okay. So for the end of this episode, it's like it was really short, but we could do this again, I hope. For the end of this episode, until the next one, you are the young generation whose time has come to take over the world. And even at such a young age, you accomplished so much, Nina. So I left one last and special question for you today. What would you say to a young girl or a boy who are at the brink of revealing the magic in photography, but struggling, while the environment and the world is screaming at them, you are just a dreamer, don't dream, you're bad at it, or there is no future in art? What would you tell them?
I actually learned to ignore those kind of negative environmental things, and I would also recommend them to learn to ignore these things, because it doesn't matter at all. Because if you love what you do, no one can tell you how good you are, that you can do something, you can't do something. No, absolutely no one can interfere. And you must not seek for validation from anybody, because the reason why I am successful is because I know what I'm doing and I love what I'm doing, and that's the most important thing. So you must gain the confidence in the work you do. Obviously, when I look back at my older photos, I see the mistakes that I didn't see before, but in that moment I was still confident in my work, and when you are confident, you work on yourself and you make big progress. So if someone earlier told me to do this and don't do that, and because especially in Georgia, people really don't like when people edit photos. They call editors kind of it's fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't understand it. It's obviously edited, but it's on purpose. I'm not lying to you. It's just how I feel about it, and I simply love it. So if photography is obviously subjective, so the most important opinion is your own opinion. So don't ask for advices if it's not too technical, of course, and believe in your art, but be also the main critique of yourself too, because otherwise you are never going to see the mistakes you did in the past, and you will never move forward. So I would just recommend learn to ignore the subjective negativity. So I would recommend to the beginners to try to ignore those negative thoughts and don't seek for validation, and simply just enjoy what they're doing and just they should be their own, main critique. And that's love for photography is all they need to do, because especially today, I think everything is possible, even with just working with a smartphone, and so they must try to find the motivation just within just their art, and maybe family and friends, and that's all that matters. So because as photography is very subjective, there will always be the critique, and there will always be negativity, and I also try to there are different types of critiques I receive, and I learned to filter them out, because some are good advices, and some are hey, I don't like this, and okay, my art, and I love what I do, right? So they must gain the confidence, and that's all I need. And I know it's hard to get there, because especially I quite unsuccessful start in my career, because I had some wrong clients, which really demotivated me. But I soon realized that the problem was not in me, it's just wrong communication, wrong client, so it's just my art, and they also should start seeking only for how can I say this? Let me just filtering out and ignoring some unnecessary things, and soon they will learn to what is necessary and what is unnecessary. They will learn, and as everything is quite easy to get, just keep doing what you love, and that's really it. If I didn't love what I do, it would be super hard for me to maintain this confidence, because
definitely I understand that. Nina, thank you, this was a gift. I hope we will do this again sometime. And
for sure. And thank you. I'm really glad, and I love the question, and I love the whole dialogue, so I would hope to do it again.
For sure, definitely.